AITA for not speaking to my stepson anymore? I, 54M, have been married to my wife Emily, 51F, for 15 years. She has a son, Ben, 27M, from a previous relationship who was 12 when we first met. At the time, I was excited about being a father figure in Ben's life. I thought we could build something close. I never expected perfection, but I always hoped for some kind of relationship. I wanted to be there for him. But that never happened. From the start, Ben was difficult. He was rude, disobedient, and dismissive of any authority I tried to have in the house. I chalked it up to his age, thinking, he's just a kid, this is temporary. I tried to be patient, I made an effort to bond, even took him out for activities he enjoyed. But no matter what I did, Ben found ways to push me away. He would break things on purpose, get into trouble at school, and then blame me for being too hard on him whenever I tried to step in. He'd curse at me, call me names, and make it clear that I would never be his real dad. I always thought it would get better with time. I figured once Ben got older, we'd be able to sit down and have a mature conversation about the past. Maybe we could talk things through, but it never happened. As he grew into his teenage years, Ben's behavior only worsened. He'd deliberately exclude me from family gatherings, cause fights between me and Emily, and even tried to convince her to leave me more than once. He'd make passive-aggressive comments at the dinner table, accuse me of being controlling, and made it clear that he saw me as nothing more than an obstacle in his life. Every time I stood my ground, Ben would go to his mom and play the victim, which would result in endless arguments between Emily and me. I never wanted to put her in that position, but I also didn't want to let Ben continue treating me like I didn't matter. When Ben turned 18, he moved out for college, and I thought maybe space would help us. I hoped that distance would give him some perspective, but even then, he found ways to hurt me. Whenever he visited, it was the same coldness, the same disrespect. He would walk into our house and ignore me entirely, as if I didn't even exist. He'd talk to his mom as if I wasn't standing right next to her. Emily tried to get him to acknowledge me, but Ben never budged. The turning point came earlier this year. Ben came to visit, and we had one of our usual blow-ups. But this time, it got worse. He said some truly vile things, told me I was the reason his mom wasn't happy, that he never needed me, and that I should be grateful he even bothered to come by. It wasn't the words that stung the most, but the fact that after all these years he still saw me as a threat rather than family. I realized that no matter what I did, Ben was never going to accept me. After that, I made a decision. I told Emily that I couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't keep putting myself in a position to be disrespected, hurt, and treated like a ghost in my own home. I told her that while I loved her deeply, I couldn't have a relationship with Ben. I wasn't going to force myself into his life anymore, and I wasn't going to speak to him. I've made peace with that. Now, when Ben comes over, I stay in my room or go out. I don't say a word to him. It's like we live in two different worlds, and honestly, it feels like a weight off my shoulders. Emily is caught in the middle, and I know it's hard for her, but I had to do this for my own mental health. I spent 15 years trying, and now I'm done. It's not about revenge or bitterness. It's about protecting myself from someone who's repeatedly hurt me. People might think I'm the bad guy for cutting him off, but at this point, I've accepted that I'll never be the father Ben wanted, and I'll never be the stepfather he needed. And that's okay. I just wish things could have been different.